Hi garden friends, welcome. Welcome to Gardening on Purpose. I'm Era and thank you for visiting my channel. If this is your first time here, my name is Era. I garden in Zone 7B in the southeastern United States, and I have quite a bit of a yard. I have some backyard, I have some side yard, and I have some front yard that I garden in. But for today, we're going to propagate my dahlias. I have 3 dahlias, and all three are like this, where they're popping out. I actually bought the tubers at a big box store, and I planted them a couple of months ago, and then they sprouted, and they sprouted and sprouted and sprouted until they're like this. So all 3 of them are like that. I actually lost my tag, so I don't know the exact variety of the dahlia. I just know that they're dahlias, and I like them because they're so beautiful. And I think they're an annual in my area, but with really good mulching, I could make it come back the next year. So that's what I'm hoping will happen. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to cut the parts that I want to propagate and then stick them in a container with some soil. I have my rooting powder, I have my shears to cut, and then I will show you how it gets done. Okay, so with the rooting powder, this is Bontone 2 rooting powder, and it's from Bonide, and it's really good for rooting houseplants, ideal for transplants, seeds, simply cut and dig and plant. So obviously I don't want to stick my rootings in my cup, in my container, so I'm gonna pour some out, and I'm gonna just pour it on the thing here because I don't have a container right now. And what I'll do is I'll get some soil ready. Now, I use regular potting soil because I don't want to have to transplant too many times. This is already good soil. The next transplant will be one level up before it goes into the ground. So what I do is I just fill it in all the way in with the soil. And this is a 12 pack. So I don't know if I'll get 12 dahlias out of my propagation, but that's the hope. Okay, so here I'm filling in all the sections of the planter, and then when I fill that in, I kind of level it out, and then I use my finger to poke it down to make sure there's no air pockets in there, and then I continue filling it in. You can just keep tamping that down, not too much, but enough where there's no obvious air that's not gonna get hit by the root's not gonna hit by air. Okay, so look at that. I tamped that down. So I have 3, 6, 9, 12. I've got 12 little areas to put the planter. So what I end up doing is I have the dahlia here, and usually I propagate the semi-soft area. Now this is the newest growth, so this would not be really good for propagating, but so I'm probably going to take this secondary here because this one's probably too hard. So I like the middle area, like what you call the sweet spot. Okay, so I'm going to cut it here, here, and here, and that's really only going to get me 2, but that's fine. And what I do after I cut this first part off, I cut off the sides, leave that new growth just so I can see what happens with it. So here I'm gonna dip this in the rooting hormone. Just gonna make sure I cut off all of it. This is where the nodule is, like the node. Poke that in there. Use my finger to create a hole in here. and I literally stick it in there. Nothing fancy. And I don't stick it all the way in to the end. I stick it where enough where I know it's gonna be steady. I might need more dirt in these areas here. Okay, so that's one. And here's the other one. Again, I literally cut off the nodule, cut off any new growths, dip it into the rooting powder, and I dip it in the rooting powder because that's where I'm hoping the new growth will come out. And then I put a hole with my finger, stick it in there, and tamp it down. There's another one here. Here, cut that off. Cut the leaf node area. Cut that off. Cut the leaves off. This one I'm just going to leave one leaf. I like to leave the leaf so I can see. If it dies, then I'll know. And if it perks up, then I'll also know. So either way, you're winning by just like leaving the leaf there. Dip it in the rooting hormone. Stick your finger in the dirt. Stick it in there. Tamp it in. And just like that, I have 3 Dahlias. So this one I've butchered enough, so probably gonna just cut it here and leave this as one plant right there. So I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, these are too soft and too young to be propagated, in my opinion. There's another one here I could propagate off of because it's a lot going on with it. So again, I cut below the node and above the node because right there above that node is too soft. So I'm gonna cut that off, cut around the leaf nodes, dip it in the rooting powder, stick my finger in. And to be honest, you don't need the rooting powder. It helps, but it's not absolutely necessary because dahlias are so easy to propagate that they don't care. They'll just propagate as long as you give them some dirt to hang on to. But the rooting powder is just a matter of practice, you know. If you're accustomed to doing it, you keep doing it, even though it doesn't seem to make a difference. For certain plants, it doesn't make a difference. For certain plants, it does. But certain plants are so easy to propagate, like coleus. You don't need anything. Just so long as coleus touches something, it's gonna grow. Okay, so that's another plant. This one here is very thick stem. I don't know. This one might be too thick. Actually, I just might not do anything with this one. Cut this off. I mean, I don't know if this is going to grow because it's so thick and hard. But as a test, I'm still going to use a part of it because I don't want to waste it. I'm going to cut that part off. And I'm going to cut that part off. And I'm going to stick this part in the ground. This hard part right here. Might not work. Might. You won't know until you try. Stick it in the ground. Well, stick it in the hole. And tamp it in. So I have my original dahlias right here. And I have 5 new dahlias that I'm hoping to get as well. Okay, so now would be a perfect time to be labeling these because as a gardener, you know, the minute you look away, you don't remember what you planted. And I started this video without bringing my pen and paper. And, but I think because I'm only doing dahlias and this recurve, that it shouldn't be that bad. I'll remember. It's, you know, things aren't that bad yet. Okay, so we have a bunch of dahlias. And again, you just want to keep the soil moist, not wet because they're on the roots. You just want to give them a chance to actually get root before you seriously water. But you just want to keep this moist. Okay, now here's a lot of dirt that came out at the bottom because I have some really, really big holes at the bottom of this container here. so a lot of the things come out. Okay, so that's that for the dahlia. Now, another exciting plant that I wanted to propagate was this recurve. This is a recurve privet, and I got this at a big box store because I wanted to create a foundation, not a foundation hedge, a privacy hedge around my property. And this is a very fast growing privet. And I bought one with the sole purpose of propagating it. So I'm going to really rip this apart because I have almost a half acre and I need a lot of privets to cover my entire backyard. Obviously, the backyard is not a half acre, but the way I'm going to plant it is probably going to be 3 feet apart, which means I'm going to need at least 20 something of these privets. And I decided to buy one plant, propagate the heck out of it, and then keep the base plant. So this is what we're going to propagate now. Again, this is the recurve privet, and it requires full sun. It blooms in the spring, and there is some sign of some blooms right there. There are some blooms, but just because this is the first year I have it, I'm not worried about the blooms right now. I'm worried about propagating. So this requires full sun, full direct sun, which is what I get in my backyard, and I need at least 25. So let's get to the propagating. All right, so how do I propagate this plant? Again, this is another one that's really, really, really easy to propagate, and it will catch root without even the powder. But I'm going to use the powder, just to be good. So again, you don't want to use the hard, stiff areas, and you don't want to use a semi-hard. You want to use the light. What you'll notice on this plant is that the stems are either dark brown, light brown, dark green, or light green. I'm trying to get to the darkish green area, not where the new growth is. I wouldn't propagate here, but I would definitely propagate here because it's a semi-soft. Every limb has a semi-soft area, and that's what I'm going to cut off. There are flowers here, and I will lose out on the flowers, but it's okay because I don't need flowers right now because that's not what I'm using it for right now. I need to start propagating this so that I can get my backyard going. I have a lot of trees in my backyard, but there are a lot of invasive trees. I'm not going to cut them down, but I'm definitely going to create another hedge in front of the trees. Okay, so how do I propagate this? Is I grab a limb, I look for the semi-green area, and I cut it right below the node. And the node is where the 2 leaves sprout off. And I can actually get, let me see, 1, probably 3 out of this. So I'm gonna cut every 2 node. So here's 1 node, here's 1 node, I cut above that. That's 2. Here's 1 node, here's 1 node, I cut above that. Here's 1 node, here's 1 node, I cut above that. And before you know it, I have 3 plants that possibly can become really good plants once I propagate it. Okay, same thing with this guy here. I'm gonna cut it here. Now look, here's really dark brown. I'm trying to get by the green. So I'm gonna do here, every 2 node, here, every 2 node, here. And I'm just gonna keep doing that until I get to the amount of plants that I need. 2 node, cut, 2 node, cut. See, turn this around. I have a lot from this plant. This one is not that hard. 2 node, cut, 2 node, cut. Oh, this one might get 3. 2 node, cut. Well, not maybe because this one's kind of soft, but Don't want to waste it. Let's see if it actually will grow. And another one here, 2-node cut. And I just keep doing this. The plant will thank me. And also, I was just trying to cut this part and the shear wasn't going through, so then I know it's too hard. So I need to move up a little bit more. Easier like that. Propagate here. Cut this off. So I have all these that can potentially become this next year. And patience is not one of my virtues, but with propagation, you got to develop patience. So here's another set. I'm going to separate. One to separate. So these are all going to be new plants. So just to show you, so I have a really good one right here. And again, I'm going to take off. Remember, I cut 2 nodes, but I'm really only going to remove 2 leaves. And I'm going to cut 1 leaf in half, another leaf in half. This is going to ultimately be what I propagate. And again, I have my rooting powder. It's not absolutely necessary, but it's helpful. And I put it in here. And I put the dirt around it, and then you're done. That's one of the Ricurves. So let me continue to propagate these, and I will show you the end result. Okay, so I finished with my propagating of the Privet, and I have, let me see, 12, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31 Privets, and 2, 4, 6 Dahlias ready for the propagating area. And really what I do is, like, I just watered it in, and then I find a shade area, because these, you definitely don't want these to be in the direct sun. They just went through some trauma and they need some serious shade. So I'm gonna put them over there under a tree, because I'm gonna keep mine outside. I'm not gonna do my stuff in the inside. It's just too much work to bring things in and out and having to harden off things. That's the one thing about gardening that I don't like, is the hardening off process, because you invest so much by having the plants in the house, and then when it's time to go outside, they have to adjust. And most times half of my stuff die because of the wind, the heat, or something. And I don't want to go in and out the house with the rug, taking plants inside, taking it outside, taking the plants outside, taking it inside. So I just decided I'm just going to do all my stuff outside. Anything that's inside is house plants, and then everything else that is going to end up outside is going to start outside. So this is, again, these are my 31 Ricurve Privets that I got from this plant that I butchered down there. And here's my little setup table. So I'm gonna actually take these to the area to keep them, and what I have to do really is just keep them moist. Don't overwater them, because there is no root to water. It's just cuttings in there, so you definitely don't want to keep it wet, but you definitely want to keep it moist, not dry. And then I will probably give an update on how things are going in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, privets are really easy, and this particular privet is really easy to propagate, so it should root in at least 10 to 12 days. But when that happens, I will definitely give you an update. Thanks again for following through my propagation video of my dahlias and my privet, and I will see you on the next video. Again, this is Era. This is Gardening on Purpose. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when there are new videos. Thank you so much, guys. See you in the next one. Bye.